trying to be special, being seen, trying. It's kind of embarrassing. The internet will find you your people. It's not for your neighbor.
Rock this world!
You mentioned that you guys are trying some like new social media or marketing strategies. I'm curious, like, do you have any takeaways regarding marketing for music and bands?
Yeah, I loved your article on marketing. I was reading it because it is like this secret, mysterious thing that I think is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for local musicians in Utah. And I don't know if it's from kind of this culture that we live in where conformity kind of was key for a long time. Fitting in with your community, following a certain set of values. Even in your rebellion, there's a certain set of values that the punks stand by. Some codes, and one of those codes across it, whether you're LDS or not, is that sticking your head up above the things and trying to be better than that is bad. Trying to be special, being seen, trying. It's kind of embarrassing. I think people feel really ashamed of putting themselves out there because they don't want to be perceived as full of themselves, or the people who are full of themselves have no qualms at all and get on everyone's nerves. It's a fine line. So for me, I'm trying to give myself permission to stand up there, to be the focal point of our project. In the past, as far as marketing goes, our drummer, he was a conversion-focused marketing expert. So when our Zober video was shared by Tool, he was ready with a conversion funnel through our website to drive people in. When as soon as they get in the funnel, they can just buy the CD or maybe be upsold to the t-shirt or to like larger fandom products, fan clubs, different kind of marketing structures. And that was really successful. Sorry. Roger is.
I love that cat.
Oh yeah, this is Roger Clemens. He's like, no one's paying attention to me. Yeah, marketing is boring. I know, this is the thing. People just want to rock, and these days, now you have to do all this marketing stuff or have a manager that you're paying $600 to do that. And back when we started, the Google Pixel and different marketing things had unfettered access to all of your data. On Facebook, you can go in and see what your marketing categories are. And I went in there one time, and one of the categories was dates Pisces, because all of my partners have been like Pisces, and I have a lot of friends that are Pisces.
That's the crazy, scary thing about data. Everyone thinks that your phone is listening to you, but it's not. It just really understands either what your community around you is doing and what you are doing.
It's very granular. But then the big giants went at it and they limited what the advertising could really reach. And so it really broke a lot of our ads, which were targeting people who really wanted to hear our music. And that's my pitch for getting over that. Like, oh my gosh, I'm putting myself out there. I'm as mortified as anybody that all of my friends, all of the local bands are seeing these ads. I'm sure they're tired of it, but it's not for them, We amassed this list of fans from all over the country, even internationally, who really wanted to hear the music, the specific message, and, become super fans. Like, the internet will find you your people. It's not for your neighbor, and you just have to get over it. Barbara might see the ads and judge you, but at the same time, like, you're gonna find these fans, but they limited it. They kind of broke it, and that was really discouraging. For a while, we kind of had to rethink it, and we were driving them towards physical sales of CDs. We probably sold like 5,000 CDs. I was packaging those, and it was becoming a nightmare. Dave and I were spending hundreds of hours packaging. We were irritating the post. We were having to become friends with the post office. They're like, you need a scan sheet, and now we're having to buy this infrastructure, for actually getting these things out. And so that was a lot of work. Like, I love making CDs. I love printing art, and I hand printed a lot of the t-shirts. We were keeping costs down. But meanwhile, back in the day, we had a friend, his name Damask, and he had this strategy to just direct people towards streaming. And now he has, a bunch of passive income, and millions of listeners. And so we're maybe going to focus in that direction. It's tough because streaming royalties aren't that much. All this sucks because it's just boring. Like, I've never gone onto the Spotify and felt the rush that I do on stage. Usually you're just like, why isn't this working? But do a viral. We launched this music video and we only have so many views. There's a lot of disappointment and nerves, and just like the metrics can make you feel really insecure and despondent. Like, does any of this matter? Like, what is this for? So we're just trying to focus on expanding our audience, finding the new fans, different marketing strategies. That's going to dictate your audience. Like, we were really popular on Facebook. Most Facebook users are like kind of older people. You know, those are our Spirit Machines fans. Like, they're older people, they're rural people, you know, that liked going to a website. Whereas, like, my little brother, he works in military recruiting, and he's telling me that teens don't even write emails. Everything is touch-based. They don't know about typing. If you want younger fans, you're going to have to think about what they are doing, and I don't know what they're doing. We might have to hire a teen manager.
I can give you some pointers. They're very generalized, so they're not necessarily that great or that deep, but like, absolutely TikTok and video in general, very, very video focused. One great way to engage with new audiences is to do things like TikTok challenges. I don't know about the conversion, but if you're at least working on video and like interacting in these new ways that Gen Z does, definitely you'll at least start to understand and connect better with those audiences. But that's stuff that I've seen and I understand, but I haven't actually necessarily dove into or done myself. So that's why it's kind of surface level advice.
I think you're totally right in cutting things up. Before, we were making like super intense music videos, movies based on like the Catch-22 video. We probably spent like $10,000 on that. And it was fun. That was something that I wanted to do always, make a movie. Now we're refocused on what can we do with little things. And this $500 we talked about spending on live shows, it's like if we're on a cool stage, then we're making sure that we're getting content, you know, having photographer. But that requires, you know, me to be like camera ready and vulnerable, you know, putting myself out there. I went on TikTok and I was looking into the viewfinder, looking at myself. It's got all these tools on there, and all of a sudden I can say whatever I want. For me, coming from this old school of thinking a lot about what other people think, you know, thinking about getting unbrainwashed from conformity, that gave me pause. And I was like, man, I gotta do a lot of soul searching to figure out how I can get over the squeamishness of being visible. And one of those is just knowing that people want to see somebody or something that resonates with them, and you don't know until you get there. I've watched Die Shining. They even went to a creators kind of academy. I recommend that you have them on your show, because they have a lot to say about marketing, and they've utilized a lot of programs and help to get to where they're at. And I watch a lot of what they're doing, and they found a huge community on TikTok that they didn't know was out there. And so I'm hoping to find that and to figure out how to get the executive functioning so I can respond to messages and really engage in that way, because I'm old school. I had CDs and, you know, well.
Are you familiar with Salduro, the band?
Yeah.
So 9 1-minute songs that like created a perfect square reels on their Instagram profile. Something I think they should have done that they didn't would have been to create like 9 1-minute music videos.
Yeah.
I think that could have worked really well, and I think that was a very creative and honestly brilliant thing to do. The way we interact with music now, albums are honestly meaningless. Almost everything goes on a playlist. It's like song by song. If I did a full-length album, concept albums, that would be solely for me. I don't even know if anyone would actually listen to it in order these days. Sorry, that was getting off on a tangent, but that was kind of something I was thinking about as we were talking about reels and marketing tactics and stuff.
I remember that Seldura album, and I thought that was really cool, because for me, I can't even tweet because anything I want to say is like longer than 130 characters. I'm still struggling at being concise and getting away from that concept album modality. And that's tough because I love albums. Like, I listen to albums. That's how I listen. I'm trying to get out of the box. I'm trying to have more to consume when it comes to music to kind of draw people in. One of my friends, her name's Stephanie Espinoza. She was studying photography when I was kind of getting into all this, and her photos were not subjective. They weren't of things. It wasn't a pretty picture of things. It was about the process of how people were experiencing photos. So she was obscuring photos, like having people having to look through, prisms at the photos. And she had this concept of slowing down the consumption of photos. And I've always thought back to that. How can I get creative? about this, get people to listen in a different way. Even our mashup Zober was just a way to get people thinking, surprise people. We're trying to move away from being a one-trick pony in that respect and doing some different things. But yeah, 1-minute videos, different things. I'm gonna go from here to a little video shoot. We're doing a lot more video shoots, having content creation days, having lots of different outfits ready to mix it up, make sure that it looks good. We've definitely experimented with iPhone cam versus like fancy cam, what people respond to music wise. And so we're going to do a green screen kind of thing and maybe let people choose their own background. People are doing all sorts of crazy stuff on their phone. I want to have competitions. I love raffles, stuff like that. It's just about getting the bandwidth. That was such a monumental effort to get the new foundation laid for the new brand, even just to decide what the new name was going to be and just to begin, I don't know if you've ever been like writing a big thing and then your computer crashes and you have to start over. That's a weight that you have to lift. But now that we're there, we've got some momentum. I'm going to start just going off on a limb, seeing what I can do just with all of our different tools. I want to make a zine. I want to get tapes back out, get something physical that people can hang out with while watching the digital medium.
And honestly, it sounds like with some of the things you were saying, like the competitions, the green screens, the ways you're thinking about how you can get people to interact digitally, I think you'll do great on TikTok, honestly.
Yeah.